placing a mechanics, building a skyscraper, shifting one task like... Hi everyone, I'm Arash. I want to start sharing how I developed my program-focused approach. I've loved sport, especially football, since I was a kid. One of the biggest questions I had growing up was why some football coaches win championships year after year, while others just don't cut it.
It is hard to believe that this is the last day he'll make this walk at Old Trafford as Manchester United
Obvious
manager.
answer seemed to be better training, but that never really convinced me. There's so much that happens in a game that a coach can't control, like a shot hitting the post.
20 titles, 26 years.
This question really shaped my thinking, and I want to share my journey with you. Besides football, I've always been into bodybuilding, but eventually I realized working out alone was not enough to lose belly fat, so I started learning more about nutrition and fitness. That's the reason in this channel I'm sharing what I've learned. Anyway, I studied industrial engineering in college, which I found fascinating because it gives you a broad view of how things work. For example, ergonomy taught me how to design efficient workspace, like placing a mechanic's workbench in the best spot. Odd theory showed me that nothing is really random. You can actually calculate the odds of things happening. For example, if Tottenham has only 5% chance of winning Premier League, they should win it about once every 20 years. If they don't, the initial calculation was probably wrong, or better to say the 5% was not accurate. Learning about statistics was a game changer in understanding how coaches like Guardiola achieve success. Think about it. Player cross the ball from near the corner flag, not from midfield. That's because coaches learn from experiences that crosses from the sides are more likely to result in goals. My favorite class was planning. I'm here to explain the principle more. Look, we want to schedule a simple task for someone, like studying French grammar from lesson 1 to lesson 7. Simple with Excel sheet, right? What if we add another task, writing a paragraph with grammars of the same lesson? You would say, just add another row. However, we should mention these two tasks have to be done consecutively. This is where we start using MS Project, but where does it get tricky when one task is not completed and subsequent tasks are dependent on it and everything needs to be rescheduled? Imagine you missed and didn't do writing task 3 on Monday. On the same Monday, you will have no problem doing grammar lesson 4 because its predecessors, grammar lesson 3, is already done. But you can't study writing lesson 4 as planned, because even though you've already done the grammar for it, you haven't finished writing lesson 3, so you have to do writing lesson 3 first. This is basically shifts all the activities after it. Shifting these activities is easy in this small project, but imagine a project like building a skyscraper. Shifting one task like pouring concrete for the 10th floor can directly change the timing of 200 other items. This kind of scheduling just is not possible with paper or simple software. Watch how we reschedule tasks just by one click. This method is practical for any kind of planning, construction, education, and even planning for sport teams. And what I'm really into it, planning for a sport tournament such as opening of Olympic. For management this kind of ceremony, you should first divide all sections, make a list for all tasks sorted by time priority, and the most important one, set relations of tasks among different categories. Another point to mention, sometimes you hear the engineers predicted the project would finish in 4 months, but you don't know the enormous amount of calculation behind it. Extraordinary example is when you hear about a hospital was built in China in 4 days during the peak of COVID. That's nothing but the art of project management and continuous improvement in scheduling. Remember it, the first plan is the worst one. It's getting better by getting feedbacks, so it's a teamwork. Let's get back to my story. After college and military service, which I spent on the border of Turkey, I kept thinking about how to apply planning in a non-industrial setting. That's where I got into system thinking. I then worked in southern Iran in scorching heat and humidity, where I got my first real-world planning experience. I learned about reporting and document management. Then in the capital, I created my first program using physics software, document delays on a project, which taught me how to track delays and make claims for compensation. Later, back in my hometown in northern Iran, I planned a whole project for organization. This taught me how everything from buying materials to weather can impact the project's deadline, and we can actually plan for. During this time, I got my MBA, which gave me fresh insight into strategic management and research. I also got certificated as bodybuilding coach, which let me combine my passion for fitness with planning. I even wrote a dynamic program that could create personalized workout plans for over 100 people with just a few clicks.